What do you have in common with rock climbers, surgeons, ballet dancers, and even chess players? It's the ability to unlock an unparalleled state of productivity called flow. Flow is a place where ideas and execution happen freely in a highly efficient manner and to a high degree of proficiency. It's a state where you become fully immersed in what you're doing. Sound nice? Well, that's because it is. It's the quickest way to get things done. These are all the reasons that I transformed my ordinary desk setup into a productivity machine that allows me to lock into a state of flow at will. In this video, I'll be discussing all the cool gear that I use to build this desk setup behind me and why building a frictionless environment is one of the most important things you can do for your own personal productivity. I'll be going over the science and the thinking behind that state of flow that helps you get so many things done and how you can apply these concepts to your own life. So without further ado, thanks for being here and let's get into it. All right, so let's go over the desk setup that I had before this one. It was just an ordinary desk. I think it was from Wayfair. Wasn't anything special. We got it just kind of for looks. It was just a desk with 2 drawers. That was it. As time went on, I found myself getting more and more frustrated over the time that it took to set up filming a video. I had to get my tripod out, I had to get my camera out, I had to get my mic on my camera, I had to get my lights set up, I had to move furniture around. It was just a mess. I also found myself getting frustrated at the lack of progress that I would make on projects every time I sat down at that whatever desk. I would rarely feel like I was working effectively, and when I did feel like I was working effectively, it wouldn't last for very long. Nothing changes if nothing changes, so I decided to change my work setup for good. First and foremost, I was tired of sitting, so I knew that I had to have a standing desk. The one that I got is from Topski. It's on Amazon for fairly cheap. I knew that my desk was going to be moving between sitting and standing all the time, so all the gear that I was going to buy had to be able to be clamped to the desk, so every time I move it into a new position, I didn't have to readjust things. Next, I got this monitor stand which clamps to the desk and comfortably holds my 29-inch LG monitor, and it also has a laptop arm that extends out to the left and holds my 16-inch MacBook Pro. But the real brain of this entire operation is the CalDigit TS3 Plus, which is a silver bullet of a USB hub. It allows you to connect up to 15 different USB accessories as well as your monitor, and it also charges your computer. This thing is the definition of a game changer. Whenever I sit down to work, all I have to do is plug one cord into my laptop and everything powers on. From my lights to my camera to my monitor to my Stream Deck to my microphone, everything is powered through that one cable. That's efficiency. I also knew that this setup was going to double as a content creation station, so I picked out the Sony ZV-E10 with an 11mm lens. I picked the Sony camera because Sony has done a great job of making pretty much all their cameras able to be used as webcams. The camera is mounted on an Oulashin arm which goes behind my monitor, connecting to the monitor stand itself, and the camera itself is connected to the computer via the Elgato Camlink 4K, which plugs into the back of the TS3. With this setup, I am always able to film high-quality videos directly onto my computer or external hard drive. And as an added bonus, I get all sorts of compliments in conference calls whenever my camera quality is that of a Hollywood studio. To light up everything, I use the Elgato Key Light, which is a bicolor programmable LED panel that connects to your app or talks to the Stream Deck really nicely. I also recently picked up this bendy tube LED light from Amazon that allows me to get some really nice contouring on my face and just have a secondary source of light that is always connected and adjustable with my desk. On top of my screen, I have the Xiaomi monitor light, which is a great way to unobtrusively light up my entire space as well as reduce glare on my screen. The mic that I use is a Shure MV7 that connects to an arm that swivels out of the way when I'm not using it. Another little brain that I have in my setup is the Elgato Stream Deck. This little setup allows you to make any macros for basically anything on your computer, but I mostly use it for talking to my lights and adjusting the levels on my mic. I've also programmed it to work with OBS so I can hit record and also stop recording or switch scenes with just the touch of a button. My speakers of choice are the Kanto S2s in matte black. I also got the speaker stands to go with them. To cover everything up, I found a desk shelf from Amazon, which is a little bit less expensive than the ones you find on places like GroveMade. It's a great way to create a little bit of separation between workspace and tools, and it also covers the rat's nest of cords I have behind my setup. Just underneath my laptop, I have a Belkin charging station for my iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods, and right next to my desk shelf, I have this cool little catch-all where I usually throw my keys and wallet when I get home from work. It also swivels open for a little bit more storage for things that you want to get out of sight and out of mind. All of these tools that are always present help me forget about the nitty-gritty of how I get stuff done. Like, where do I plug things in? How does my lighting look? What does my camera angle look like? How does my sound sound? In other words, everything I've built here helps me enter that state of flow. In this state, I lose track of time and surrender to the seemingly magical process of knowing exactly how to do the things that I want to do. I'm always leaving a work session feeling fulfilled, productive, and happy. After experiencing the flow state so much, I began thinking, why does flow state work? And more importantly, how does it work? It was these questions that prompted my research on the topic, and that ultimately led me to finding a guy named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Obviously, this automatic, spontaneous process that he's describing can only happen to someone who is very well trained.
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is a Hungarian psychologist who became interested early on in what makes people love what they do, and moreover, why they continue to do something regardless of the money. After interviewing musicians, athletes, and artists, he found that the one thing that all of these people had in common was the ability to lock into what we now know as flow state.
So many of the people describe this as a spontaneous flow that I call this type of experience the flow experience. For instance, a poet describes the same effortless, spontaneous feeling that you get when you enter into this ecstatic state. You see here in this description of an Olympic skater the same essential description of the phenomenology of the inner state of the person. You don't think, it goes automatically. You merge yourself with the music and so forth.
So how do you tap into flow? Well, simply, it's by eliminating distractions and creating a frictionless environment. Scientific evidence points to flow occurring when there's decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of your brain that's responsible for consciousness, self-reflection, and memory. It's hypothesized that when the prefrontal cortex shuts down, it allows for other areas of the brain that deal with things like creativity and curiosity to interact more freely with one another, allowing for what we experience as flow. Csikszentmihalyi, in his TED Talk, introduces this matrix, which explains how, why, and when flow state occurs. In short, flow happens when one's skill level and the difficulty of the task at hand loosely match. Flow happens at the apex of one's abilities and the challenges that they might face. However, a misalignment of the two creates emotions like happiness, relaxation, boredom, or even anxiety. These all come from different levels of challenge and skill combining at different times. Visualizing flow like this is a great way to understand how you might tap into the flow state more often. But near the end of his talk, Csikszentmihalyi adds a critical detail that struck me in a particular way.
The other combinations of challenge and skill become progressively less optimal. Relaxation is fine, you still feel okay. Boredom begins to be very aversive, and apathy becomes very negative. Unfortunately, a lot of people's experience is in apathy.
You can have the most effective desk setup in the world. You can have all the bells and whistles you want. You can have all the lights, cameras, microphones, keyboards, desk shelves, computers, everything. But nothing will beat intrinsic motivation. Of all the examples that he listed, Csikszentmihalyi makes it known that those who experience flow most often are motivated by something outside of themselves. They do things for the sake of doing them, because they love it. Think about artists, athletes, or musicians, or any other thing that requires flow. In order to do those amazing things, there's nothing more important than surrendering to the exact moment that you're in and being present with the thing that you're doing. A guitar player ripping a solo, or Tony Hawk hitting the first ever McTwist, or an artist in the midst of creation. All of these people's highest performances are accessed only when they're thinking about nothing but the exact thing that they're doing, because they love doing it. Flow state is an amazing place to be. It blurs time and you get some of your best work done while you're in it. But it's only accessed through the ability to match your skill level with the challenges at hand, as well as the intrinsic motivation to do something because you love it. For me, I love shooting and editing videos, crafting a story with a message, and creating content that helps. To do this faster, I've created a machine that helps me do more, better, and without thinking. When I lock in and I start feeling that sense of flow, I'm thinking about only the thing that's in front of me, the thing that I want to be doing. But that's not to say you need expensive equipment to unlock a state of flow. What I've learned is the best way to enter a state of flow is to cultivate a real passion for exactly what you want to be doing and surrender to the moments of doing it. So what do you have in common with ballet dancers, rock climbers, chess players, and even surgeons? It's the ability to do your best work when you're truly passionate about something. So what are you waiting for? Get to work. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps. And remember, keep scrolling mindfully. So how do you tap into flow? Well, simply, it's to create a distraction-free environment. Almost threw up. Oh my God. I legitimately almost threw up. That was insane. Can you imagine if I just threw up on camera as I'm talking about flow state? Oh, it's a different kind of flow, isn't it? Yeah, anyway.